everyone. Welcome to the first day of spring. I thought since it's such a pretty day outside that we could do our read aloud outside today. And I'm not sure if you can hear it, but the birds are singing and it's just so nice out here. So one of the things that I think about when I think about spring are all the new creatures that are beginning as babies, like baby frogs. Do y'all know what those are called? Baby frogs start out as tadpoles. And so there is a book that I would like to share with you today called The Mysterious Tadpole. And this is a story by Kellogg. And if you'll see the illustration on the front, that does not look like a tadpole to me. And maybe that's why the title is called The Mysterious Tadpole, because it's full of mystery. I don't think this is really a tadpole, but let's find out. Now, this really cool thing about illustrations is you don't always need words to start telling a story. So even on the title page, it begins with this guy who has put this mysterious tadpole into his jar. And look what's in the background. And even on these front two pages that tell you information about the book and when it was written, golly, this is written 1977. Anywho, the illustrations are still telling a story without words. Here he is, sending it off to the post office, and there's the mailman going on his deliveries. You can see right there, there's that tadpole. Or not tadpole. And now our story really begins with the words. Uncle McAllister lived in Scotland. Every year he sent Lewis a birthday gift for his nature collection. Do you have any collections at home? I know as a kid I used to collect rocks. I thought that was the coolest thing. I had all kinds of rocks. Well, Lewis here collects all kinds of things that have to do with nature. And nature are things that are not made by people. And so a tadpole, that's definitely nature. This is the best one yet, cried Lewis. The next day he took his entire collection to school for show and tell. So here's all the things in his collection in his little wagon. So you can see all of these things, they are in nature. They are not made. You can't go to the store and buy them. They're found in nature. Class, this is a tadpole, said Mrs. Shelbert. She asked Lewis to bring it back often so they could all watch it become a frog. So she's teaching about nature. She's teaching the life cycle of a frog. So you can see she's pointing. This is where it is now. So this is what it should look like when it becomes an adult. We'll see. Lewis named the tadpole Alphonse. And every day Alphonse ate several cheeseburgers. Oh my. Lewis found that he was eager to learn. That means he likes to do it. He wants to do it. He's excited about it. Look what he's learning. Now, you can definitely tell this is not your ordinary tadpole. When Alphonse became too big for his jar, Lewis moved him to the sink. Do you think his parents are happy about that? I don't know that I would want a mysterious tadpole living in my sink. Now, after Alphonse outgrew the sink, Lewis's parents agreed to let him use the bathtub. They're taking baths together now. And one day, Mrs. Shelbert decided that Alphonse was not turning into an ordinary frog, so she asked Lewis to stop bringing him to school. Look how big he's getting. And I can tell why that teacher doesn't want him to keep on coming to school. I definitely wouldn't be able to teach like that. Now, by the time summer vacation arrived, Alphonse was enormous. He's too big for the bathtub, said Lewis's mother. He's too big for the apartment, said Lewis's father. He needs a swimming pool, Lewis said. There is no place in our apartment for a swimming pool, said his parents. Lewis suggested that they buy the parking lot next door and build a swimming pool. It would cost more money than we have, said his parents. Your tadpole will have to be donated to the zoo. The thought of Alphonse in a cage made Lewis very sad. And And I can see by the illustrations, these little bubbles here, these are what they're dreaming or they're thinking about. What's he dreaming about? He's dreaming about eating a giant cheeseburger. But poor Lewis, he's worried. He's thinking about what is going to become of Alphonse if he goes to the zoo. Then, in the middle of the night, Lewis remembered that the junior high had a swimming pool that no one used during the summer. Lewis hid Alphonse under a rug and smuggled him into the school. Oh, he's not paying attention. After making sure that Alphonse felt at home, Lewis went back to bed. There he is, in the swimming pool. He looks pretty happy. Every morning, Lewis spent several hours swimming with his friend. In the afternoon, he earned the money for Alphonse's cheeseburgers by delivering newspapers. And meanwhile, the training continued. Alphonse learned to retrieve things from the bottom of the pool. You see him? Retrieve means to go get. See how he's going to get something that he threw? He looks really happy. This looks like a good thing. Let's see. Summer vacation passed quickly. Lewis worried what would happen to Alphonse now that school had reopened. Now, as soon as the first day ended, he ran to the junior high, and the students were getting ready for their after-school activities. Oh, there's a sign. This flyer says, "Swimming team, report to the pool immediately." Uh-oh. We know that Alphonse is in the swimming pool. What's going to happen? Lewis arrived just as the first swimming race began. Oh, and he's trying to say. Alphonse was delighted to see all the swimmers. "It's a submarine from another planet!" bellowed the coach. "Call the police! Call the Navy!" "No, it's a tadpole!" cried Lewis. "He's my pet!" Oh, no! Oh, my goodness. The coach was upset and confused. "You have until tomorrow," he cried, "to get that creature out of the pool." Lewis didn't know what to do. On the way home, he met his friend, Mrs. Severs, the librarian, and he told her his problem. Mrs. Severs went back to the junior high school with Lewis, but when she saw Alphonse, she was so shocked that she dropped her purse and the books that she was carrying into the swimming pool. Alphonse retrieved them. Then Mrs. Severs telephoned Lewis's uncle, McAllister, in Scotland. He told her that he had caught that little tadpole in Loch Ness, a large lake near his cottage. Mrs. Severs said, "I am convinced that your uncle has given you a very rare Loch Ness monster." And I want you to see, there's a story being told here in the illustrations. She's calling from a telephone, and here he is in Scotland. And look, they're in the library. So in the library, you get to research all kinds of information, and she has found information about the Loch Ness and that there are monsters rumored to be there. So she did her research. "I don't care," cried Lewis. "He's my pet and I love him." He begged Mrs. Severs to help him raise enough money to buy the parking lot near his apartment so he could build a swimming pool for Alphonse. Suddenly, Mrs. Severs had an idea. In 1639, there was a battle in our city's harbor, she said. A pirate treasure ship was sunk, and no one has ever been able to find it. But perhaps we can. Okay, so here they are thinking again, just like earlier. Okay, and they have this thought of going to find that ship that no one knows where it was, even to this day. And so in the library, she's found all kinds of things that she has researched. She's got the map, where to go to look. It's very smart to know your facts. The next morning, Miss Severs and Lewis rented a boat. In the middle of the harbor, Lewis showed Alphonse a picture of the treasure chest. Why would he do that? Alphonse disappeared under the water. What do you think's going to happen? What had he been trained to do? That fancy word, retrieve. And what did he do? They're so happy. Look at their expressions. Lewis and Miss Severs bought the parking lot and they hired some helpers. And when the pool was completed, all the children in the city were invited to swim. Look how happy they all are. Man, that tadpole sure did grow big, didn't it? That night, Lewis said, "Alphonse, next week is my birthday, which means that we've been friends for almost a year." Far away in Scotland, Uncle McAllister was also thinking about the approaching birthday. While out hiking, he discovered an unusual stone in a clump of grass and sticks. "A perfect gift for my nephew," he cried. "I'll deliver it in person." Do you think that's really a rock? Uncle McAllister arrived at Lewis's apartment and gave Lewis the present. Lewis couldn't wait to add it to his collection. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the stone. That definitely doesn't happen to rocks. Oh no, here we go again. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story about the mysterious tadpole, and I hope that you're enjoying this beautiful day outside.